Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. For this review, we're going to take a look at the Sentinel RIOBOT NERV versus Godzilla anti-G weapon Shiryu. So I got this guy from HobbyLink Japan, and he was about 20,000 yen, which is about 180 US dollars. And you can see the packaging is very carefully wrapped in this paper sheet wrapping. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this off so we can have a look at the packaging. So on the front of the packaging, you've got a picture of the Shiryu figure. Very nice matte semi-gloss kind of paper stock here. You've got the NERV logo on this side, and on the back you've got a nice glossy black artwork of Shiryu. And here you got Godzilla and Evangelion in katakana, which is really cool. And you've got the NERV logo there again. And this is actually a slip cover, which you can slip off. And on the inside you can see the Shiryu figure sitting there in a nice big window and the accessories laid out there. And just a quick spin around to the back shows you the figure, two different poses. Very, very nice. And on the top you've got R16. I think that's the RIOBOT designation number. And on the bottom you've got some company information. So let's get this guy open and have a look at him. And he comes with a little pamphlet, which is nicely bagged. I'll just quickly open this and show you the contents as well. It's basically just a single A4, or slightly smaller than A4 I think, folded in half, so I don't really see the need for this bag. But the photograph on the front is nice, and on the inside shows you what you can do with the figure. And on the back, everything that's included in this box. And here is the actual figure. And on the back there is actually the display stand, which I'll show you in a minute as well. And here is everything out of the box, including the accessories. And I'll just go through these quickly and then I'll show you guys a close-up of these. So he comes with a pair of optional hands, and these are more of a slightly more closed in hands, but they're not quite fists. And he also comes with a pair of the forearm blades, which you can put either facing forward or facing backwards, and I'll show you that in a minute as well. And he comes with an optional tail tip. So the one that comes on the figure is sort of like a glowing tip, and you can actually replace it with a standard metallic looking tip. And of course he comes with the display stand. Now the display stand is really quite big compared to previous RIOBOT releases, which I think for the figure is good, because this figure feels a little bit hard to balance, so it's good to have a nice big stand like this. And it's quite intricate. It's got like this clear polycarbonate piece in the center, and it's actually quite heavy, and it looks like you might actually be able to take the middle piece out as well, so we'll have a look at that in a second as well. And here's a closer look at the optional hand. Very nicely painted, very finely detailed. And I'll just show you the hand swapping. Pulls off pretty easily off that ball joint, and then you can put the slightly less open palm hand, it's more like a relaxed hand really, on, and that's how it looks. And while I'm here, I'll just show you the forearm blades. So you can either have it facing forwards, let's see how it goes on. I think, yep, it clips on like that, so it can either be facing forward. So it's called the anti-kaiju blade, very nicely printed there. Very small text, I'm not sure if you can see that. Or you can have it facing backwards, I think, if I can get this off. And I guess you can have it stored facing backwards, and that really looks quite good as well. And the blades on both sides, very nicely painted. You can see this graduation from kind of the very dark gunmetal to a purple tip. And in the middle you've got some sort of like a brown kind of tinge. It's really it really looks like titanium, the way they've shaded the blade, so that's quite nice. And just moving around to the back, you've got the glowy type tail tip, which pulls off that ball joint, and you can put on the standard looking metallic tail tip. And with the display stand, it looks like you can push the middle bit out. It's probably tabbed in, so I'm pretty sure it's separate pieces assembled in there. Okay, let me see if I can pull this apart. Okay, so I've got the middle one out, and this is just their standard RIOBOT display base. So it's cool that they've given us a bit of extra kind of real estate to display the figure on. It's actually 4 separate pieces that are clipped together, so that's really nicely done. And let's put this back. And with the display base, there's a little arm there, and to attach Shiryu, there's a little opening or a little cover here that you can pull off. Let me see if I can get I don't actually have any fingernails at the moment, so I'm just gonna try and, oops. All right, just watch out for these little things. They actually do fall off quite easily. And one of them just did. But getting back to this little opening, you can probably see this little piece slowly coming off, but I can't get my fingernails underneath it. But anyway, that piece pops open, and it will have a little peg hole, and then you can just basically peg Shiryu on there. And here is a closer look at the figure. Now, first impressions when I got this guy out of the box is that he's very intricately designed. I love the design of this guy. The paint job is very tidy, but as soon as you pick him up, you can feel that he's very light. He feels almost like a Gundam kit. There's not much mass to him. I think everything is pretty much hollow, and it's all made in plastic. So that's a little bit disappointing. I was hoping for a little bit more mass, but he is very light. Having said that, he's full of detail. So looking at his head, very nicely painted there, very intricately designed. I mean, there's heaps of pieces to him. All of these things on his back, the fins, they move up and down and things like that. And even pieces here, they look like ears. They kind of move around. This bit is a little bit floppy. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like that, but it is on both sides, so I guess that's how it is. Very nice detail on the neck section. He does have opening mouth, but there isn't that much detail inside the mouth. It's basically just a hole there, but still very nicely designed head. And you've got the Evangelion style arms there with the shoulder emblem, which is really nice. Some piston detail there. I don't think it's actually a working piston, it's just there for show. And nice paint job on the arms, little print detail there on the forearms, and the hands are very nicely painted. And as I mentioned before, nice crisp printing on the anti-kaiju blade, and the nice titanium finish paint job. And that paint job also applies to the fins. You can see the tip. They've all got this purple finish towards the top. So that's very, very impressive. And there's heaps of fins on this guy. Although the fins on the tail section, they don't have that purple effect. So it's only the body section. The neck ones don't have that purple effect either, unfortunately. And have a look at his body. A lot of nice mechanical detail design there. Bit of tempo print there on the body, top of the thighs. I love this these little green bits, highlights on the legs. Very tidy paint job there again on the legs. I did mention before, these little bits here on the side, they do move up and down. So there's 6 of them on each leg. But the thing is, they pop out quite easily, so you just have to be careful. I'll just show you one. Okay, this one's decided not to pop out, but say for example the top one. So it doesn't really peg in. I mean, it pegs in, but there's nothing that really catches it and stops it from dropping out. So you just have to be careful not to lose these pieces when you're posing the guy. Nice toe paint detail there. And moving around to the tail, very nicely sectioned tail, and very nicely painted tip of the tail there. And now for articulation, let's start with the head. So the head can look up about that high, which is not bad, and he can look down that far, which is really nice. And you'll notice when you move the head up, this little panel here actually slides up and down. So there is a little bit, there's a few kind of linkages there to kind of give him that, you know, automated armor plate moving action there on the neck, which is quite nice. And he can do some side to side, but actually he's got some rotation as well, so he can look that far to the left and that far to the right. So he's got I think there's a ball joint at the base of the neck, so it gives him a little bit extra there. And with the arms, he can lift them up that high and down to there, all the way around. And he does actually have a butterfly joint, so it gives him back and forward motion there on the shoulders, which is quite nice. And there is a bicep swivel just hidden in there, so he can rotate his arms around, which is good. And then for his elbows, I think it's only a single joint, so a little bit restrictive, but still gives him a good 90-degree bend there, and he can straighten it all the way. And with these blade section, I mean the blade holder, there is a little bit of rotation. Let me take the blade off so you can see that a little bit clearer. So this bit here does move up and down a little bit here. And for the wrist, he's got rotation or swivel, which is very good range there. And he's got a ball joint for the actual wrist, so all the way around and up and down a little bit as well. So that's not bad. And then having a look at his waist, he can crunch forward that far and back that far. So decent range there. And then a bit of side to side as well. Oh, he does actually have a diaphragm joint up here as well. So he's got diaphragm joint, which allows him to get even more tilting from side to side. And I think the diaphragm joint is a ball joint, so there is a little bit of rotation as well, but not a lot. So you're mainly kind of counting on that waist joint for the rotation. And with the hips, he's got, let's see, he can do that much of a split, which isn't too bad considering he is a Godzilla type monster or robot. And then he can come in that far, and then he can kick forward pretty much all the way unhindered. You can probably rotate his leg all the way around. Yeah, you can actually. So that's really good. And any bicep swivel? I guess the swivel is from the hips, so you can swivel it in and out that way. And then coming down to the knees, you've got the chicken leg kind of bend here, so you can kick forward that far on that first joint, and the second joint allows him to, actually the second joint is not as far as the first one, so just slightly forward and back there. And coming down to his ankles, he can point his feet down that far, up that far, and he's got very good ankle pivot, so that'll help with the stabilization. And nothing on the toes or the heels, so the feet is one piece. And coming around to the tail, so the tail is I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different sections on the bottom. So it gives them really good bend upwards like this and down to about there. So he can straighten his tail almost, and also really good side to side action for the tail. And in terms of height, I've got him here standing as straight as he can, so basically making him as tall as he can be. He comes to about 19 centimeters to the top of the head, which is about 7.48 inches. And now for some size comparisons. First up, here he is with SH Monsterart's Heisei Godzilla in his Evangelion colors. Sentinel RIOBOT EVA 01, Robodamashi EVA 01, SH Monsterart's Type 3 Kiryu, SH Figuarts Son Goku, DC Icons Superman, and finally Marvel Legends Cyclops. I really do love the design of Shiryu, and the execution or the finish is very, very nice on this guy. He's got a lot of detail, a lot of moving parts, and he's just gorgeous to look at. So it really is quite a nice piece to have for someone that really loves mechas and Godzillas like myself. It's basically a perfect combination of the two genres, I think. I do wish he had a little bit more mass like the SH Monsterarts figures. He does feel very light, very much like a model kit. Although it is, you know, I have to say, a very nicely, professionally finished off model kit. So for the price, I think it is worth it, but only if you are a big mecha fan or Godzilla fan. The articulation is really good on this guy. You can get him into a lot of nice poses. I do wish the elbow had a little bit more range because it's kind of restrictive at 90 degrees. Other than that, I'm really happy with this guy. He's going to go into my Evangelion shelf, and it's going to be fun to do some kind of battle photo shoots with him and some Godzilla figures, I think. So yeah, definitely check him out if you're a fan of Evangelion or if you're a fan of Godzilla. And that pretty much sums up my review. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe or like this video if you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you guys next time for another toy review.